All right, Alice.
Yeah.
Amelia Shattuck, Esquire. Have you ever been hospitalized for anything other than having kids?
Hospitalized?
Yeah.
I don't think I was hospitalized for having kids.
No, but you were hospitalized for anything?
Not like an overnight or anything? No.
Never? You never stayed in the hospital?
Overnight? No,
you didn't
never.
have a teenage girl attempted suicide or something?
I did, but I didn't stay overnight.
How very Lexington is that?
I was all set after
would you like us to keep you overnight, Miss
like, no,
Alice?
I'm good.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I made my point. I've already posted on Facebook. I'm good.
We didn't have Facebook back then. We had
I'm
MySpace.
Yes, it's already on MySpace, so I got what I was looking for. Thanks. What was the trauma that you were undergoing that you had to do this?
I mean,
what was the okay?
Are we going to go there?
Well, no. I mean, no. Well, no. No. If it's real trauma, I don't want it. If it's like Johnny looked at Phoebe instead of you in gym class.
No, it was real trauma. Okay.
Really? Do I know about it?
Yeah.
Does it involve me?
No.
Oh my goodness. Now we got to make up a fake trauma to tell people that it's the real trauma.
Well, you brought it up.
Right, Alice, but I wasn't really fishing for the real trauma.
Well, you asked. You said you didn't have a teenage girl suicide attempt, and I did. So there you go. So you want to know? You get the answer.
What was the method of suicide? This is
why, by the way. I took like 8 more Tylenol than you were supposed to.
Right.
And I thought that I would die, and I didn't.
So the method was not suicide. What will make me feel so much better and relieve aches and pains in a way I never have because I'm done with this world? I realize now that this is... Let me tell you something else. This is the most surprising open to any podcast we've had. So, did you assume that this would be effective?
Yes.
Really? And how old were you?
I don't know, like 14?
Okay. You didn't have the internet back then?
I think we had it, but I used it more innocently than that, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, would you say that attempt was more of a cry for help?
Probably.
Okay. Because there are, yeah. I mean, I'm not suggesting. But, well, so that's interesting. So just that one attempt?
I mean, I did some perfunctory, like, wrist scratching, too, but...
As a teenager.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was in Lexington. I assume it was. That was a rite of passage for the Muffy Lakewood set in Winchester. Mm. Everybody had cut themselves and, like, tried to commit suicide. No, girls. It was always girls. Mm-hmm. Guys never did.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, guys actually commit suicide at higher rates than women do.
Right.
Boys do. But girls attempt more. But boys tend to choose things like guns and trains and like very extremely effective methods of suicide, unlike girls that don't.
Actually, in Melrose, a second person has died in the train tracks.
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't follow that.
That is remarkable to me. It's remarkable to me. So yours, I don't really consider. Certainly, I understand the trauma thing, but I don't consider that like I am leaving. It is so painful to be among the living that I am checking out. Because I know that there are people who do that. And you hear about that, and I can't imagine that. I can't imagine like you throw yourself in front of a train or a bus or off a bridge, because it would be a relief.
Yeah.
Compared to reality, I can't imagine that.
I mean, I can, but I
can't imagine feeling that terrible. You can?
Yeah.
That it's just better to turn off.
Yeah.
Than to live in this reality. Like.
Yeah.
But.
That's a real thing that people go through.
Well, but I understand, but like, how can you go through it? Like, for instance, your life now. Do you want to kill yourself now?
No.
Right. Because
it's not based on like
like
factors
so
in
it's
reality.
Not based on things
it's
in reality.
Like yeah.
What's it based on? Just think, by the way, this could have been Montante.
Could have been a totally different show.
Deep dive with Montante. Instead, it's an unexpected.
You started the tangent into suicide.
I didn't realize that I hit the secret code and the bookcase opened up. Your suicide attempt.
You asked.
So did you? First of all, did 8 aspirin Tylenol knock you out?
No, it didn't do anything. But they made me take Ipecac at the emergency room, which makes you throw up.
Yeah,
but they didn't really do anything else because I didn't really overdose on anything.
No, no, you took pain relievers. They probably prescribed Tylenol for you.
It was like more of an exercise and like pretending to take me seriously.
Yeah, it's not.
But then it was funny because it's like weird that there's no, like, nothing came of that.
Well, it must have been a pain in the ass for your parents. Like,
yeah, it was a pain in the ass, but like I never then went to therapy or nobody checked anything after that. Like,
it's just getting me a prettier picture by the second. Excellent.
No, but it's just interesting to me that like nobody followed up. Like there was no, like it was just they would just send me up.
Well, you missed this time, kid. Better luck next time.
I mean, like, talk about falling through the cracks, right? Like, I don't know.
Is there something bothering her? I don't know. I mean, we take Tylenol too, right? Were you going to tell the reason for the suicide?
No.
Right. Okay, good. Jesus. I don't think you should.
Yeah.
Right. But also, you know, I can say that it is, I know what it is. And do you mind if I say it?
Go for it. I mean, I don't care.
Alice was set asunder by the 2003 invasion of Iraq.
So true.
Which is where I wanted to start before things got very interesting very quickly.
I'm willing to make things interesting with you anytime.
Okay. Have you ever posed nude for photos? Wow, a lot of time has elapsed. A lot of time has elapsed. Jesus. Should we have a lawyer on staff, Alice? You know, you're not under oath, Alice. A lot of people, the men are very interested in this. The ladies are fine not watching this abuse. So
I mean,
okay. I mean, go ahead.
Well, I've
what?
Because we're married and
yes.
we're intimate. I have sent you pictures like that.
And by the way, I'll be sharing those. Guys
No.
If you want to, OnlyFans.
No OnlyFans.
Okay, but pre-me, before me.
I don't really think so.
Yeah. It's funny. 20 years ago, 20 years ago, I asked my then girlfriend that same question, and I said, "Have you ever been videotaped yourself like naked or having sex?"
I've never videotaped myself naked or having sex. I could answer that easily.
So your lawyer would be telling you to shut the hell up right now. But I asked her that, and she said, "Well, I mean, kind of like a long time ago, but the guy lost the tape." I thought, wow, that means not kind of, definitely, and the guy did not
lose the tape.
The tape is widely available. That means. But how old were you when you did this? When you were doing nude pictures? And by the way, I'm sorry.
I told you in our married life. So like,
I don't care about our married life.
No.
I care about before me.
No.
What is out there?
Nothing is out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there anything like other tawdry you'd like to say about yourself?
What is this, Alice confessional?
I guess so. I didn't know.
You started it.
I just simply. How did I even start it?
You asked if I ever had a teenage girl suicide attempt.
Why did I ask that?
I don't know why.
There must have been a reason.
I don't know.
There must have been a reason.
You asked if I'd ever stayed in the hospital.
Yeah. There must have been a reason for that.
It didn't seem like it.
You know what? It's some kind of long way around.
To what?
I don't even know. It's a weird thing to bring up, but once I asked that weird, once I threw my lure in a puddle, and a grouper grabbed it, I was like, oh my God, I got to go with it. Guys, if you have any questions, please go on there. Not about Alice's trauma, but about anything else. Why would I ask if you ever stayed in the hospital? I don't know. I guess I'm interested. For nothing else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No further questions. No further questions. Wow, you're wearing the innocent sweater too today, and it's been the most. Is it the sweater that does it? I'll say everything truthful today. It's because it's my Catholic school sweater.
You asked if it's the Maria going back to the nunnery sweater.
Yeah.
It's just a sweater.
Is this the different corner of the store from the aphrodisiac corner of the store. All right, can we get back on track?
Yes.
So the reason why I asked Mike Montante to come on, and he's not coming on, is because I wanted to know. Today I tweeted something that was about somebody had tweeted something about how Jon Stewart was great for the veterans.
Uh-huh.
And I replied that he undermined the war effort from the very beginning and was a POS, and, I don't want to hear it from him. And everybody said that, we essentially became a pile-on about how he should never have been in that long in Afghanistan or Iraq, etc. And I find this very interesting. I actually don't know where you are on this.
I mean, I'm of two minds. I have mixed feelings on it, and I know that's a cop-out, but I honestly feel that at the time, it was a weird time because 9/11 happened my first week of high school. So this was a huge formative thing.
Sure.
9/11. I took debate in high school, and we had quizzes each week on what was in the news. So it was big news stories. So basically anything that was on the front page of the Boston Globe or the New York Times was fair game to be covered. And it was questions that you would have a hard time answering if you didn't read the articles.
Sure.
But it was hard to even do the news quizzes because our first week of high school was 100% 9/11 stories. Because that happened that week. So it was school started that Thursday before 9/11, and then Tuesday 9/11 happened. So we had Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Is this millennial? It was especially hard on us. Is that what I'm hearing right now?
No, I'm not saying that.
If you're a stupid high schooler, I think it probably hurt less. Because you don't know anything about humanity or anything. You're stupid mouth breathing. You and who was that girl? The really hot girl who was in the Guess jeans.
Monique?
No, not your friend, Alice.
Oh.
Because Monique wore a pair of Guess jeans? No, she was in the Guess jeans photo shoots.
With Marky Mark?
The hot girl,
Calvin Klein. I don't know what
who
you're
you
talking
know. We watched a movie of her that you loved from the 90s.
The 10 Things I Hate About You, girl.
Yes.
Julia Stiles?
Exactly. So that you were essentially Julia Stiles at that age.
I mean, I was a millennial, but yeah. But it was a weird time because my whole high school experience was framed by this news cycle of Bush and 9/11 and the war on terror and Afghanistan and Iraq. Because I started high school in 2001 and I graduated from high school in 2005, right? And it's so that was my whole high school experience was this stuff, right? That was all that was happening in the news at that time.
So I don't want to diminish you, and I feel fondly about you. You know that, right?
Uh-huh.
I have generally.
I'm not getting to the point fast enough. Is that your problem?
Well, I'm just going to say this. It was quite a big thing everywhere. I just want you to know that.
I know.
I'm sure it was at Lexington High School too, with Murphy Lakewood and the yachts had the flags at half staff.
I know.
But yes.
But the reason why I say that is because I was conservative in high school, which was kind of weird.
That is kind of weird. How did that happen?
I guess.
Where were any conservatives when you were in high school? You didn't listen to Rush, did you?
No, but I did listen to WTKK when I was in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That long ago, really?
Yeah. So, and, conservative in high school.
How did you stumble onto the talk radio FM station as a high school girl?
Well, it was around, so my mom listened to a lot of radio, and my brother also listened to a lot of radio, and called into a lot of radio. He was one of those, I'm pathologically unlucky. I can't win anything, but he would win contests and stuff, be the 10th caller and win tickets to things. So I would go with my brother a lot to stuff, to movies and things and whatever, he won or did stuff, and he would call in a lot and I would hear him. I was also a lifeguard towards the end of high school. So I listened to a lot of radio from that. not AM radio. I definitely didn't know that even existed pretty much. But I listened to a lot of FM radio as a lifeguard. So I, and especially in the mornings, I would.
Were you ever 18 in a lifeguard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was only 18 in a lifeguard. That was only at the end of my high school.
You were very attractive in your lifeguard uniform.
Was I?
Yes.
Okay.
You were an adult.
Okay. So,
Why did you talk sultry? They said you were. Was I?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. My voice is a little bit hoarse right now. I'm not sure why. But so I just, I was like in a weird place and it was a weird time. And I felt personally much more like patriotic than a lot of people around me that felt like, why do they hate us and we shouldn't bomb Afghanistan and all this stuff. And like we actually during this same period, and I'm pretty sure this made like bigger news outlets also, Lexington High School had a whole thing because they didn't want to allow military recruiters on the Lexington High School campus anymore because of the don't ask, don't tell policy.
Right, yeah.
So they felt that the military was like a bigoted institution and we shouldn't allow them on our campus, just like we wouldn't allow the KKK to recruit on our campus. Like people really said this stuff, right? Like you wouldn't allow the KKK to recruit at career day on our high school campus. So why would you allow the military? And like a bunch of people that I knew, including some of your friends, some of my friends that like you've met, right? Like got their parents to sign them out of class to like go to Iraq war protests and stuff. And like, God. To me, it was like, that was so the culture that I was like almost reactionary against that I was pro Iraq war at the time. And it was like less a rational thing than it was like, I thought they sucked. Right? Like, and I thought their parents signing them out for an excused absence to go protest the Iraq war like they were 60s hippies doing something important was pathetic. And I thought it was stupid. And I like was against what they were for, like that's like ultimately where I was.
And you were right, by the way. On all of those things, you were right. What a rare thing.
So, at the time, that's like
it's also very bullheaded of you to not just simply go with what the crowd wants.
Well, I am almost the weird type of person that I would like go with what the opposite of the crowd is just because to be stupid. Like, I don't know. But so I was more probably into that at the time than a lot of people and against the rhetoric against like the military and the military recruiting on campus was like extremely high tension at that time at our high school. And I was very much for our military and for them bombing the crap out of Afghanistan after 9/11, and I was not in the same place that a lot of my peers were mentally. So I don't know, so that was very formative for me. Like, I also tend to think that we waste a lot of money trying to make countries go where there's like no infrastructure or anything, and that's why I almost think Iraq was like a better war in some ways than Afghanistan, because Iraq's like a real country with like a history and like museums and like Persian history and Mesopotamia and like they have like real stuff. Right. Afghanistan is a complete, like the word Trump wasn't allowed to say about certain countries. Like, it's a bleep hole. Like, it just sucks. There's nothing there. It's like, you can't make it be a Western democracy by coming in with an army, right? So in that way, like, I think Iraq was almost a better war than Afghanistan because, like, Iraq, you can sort of have like government and stuff in a way that Afghanistan just like was not ready for. Right.
Yeah.
But so, I also tend to think, and I read a book. Have you read a book about Vietnam called To Bear Any Burden?
No.
It's like a big compilation of a bunch of firsthand accounts and stuff. But the sort of thesis of the book, which is an unusual thing in a book about the Vietnam War, is that we screwed up Vietnam because we didn't fully commit.
Correct. And that's true. And that it was won at one point.
We were doing a lot of good stuff, and we could have had it be a success story, but we chose to half-ass it, and we didn't, and then, like, it turned into an effed up situation. And I kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like whatever you do 100%, and it's going to work out better than if you half-ass it, right? Well, and I feel like there was a lot of back and forth with both Iraq and Afghanistan, where it was like, no, we're not really going to do it. We'll have a surge. Oh, we won't have a surge. I don't know. Like, and I feel like that screws you. Like, if you do anything that way, it's going to turn out bad no matter what. 100%.
Well, we've got a super culture now that absorbs media and, at a much different rate than they used to. In Vietnam, people were getting colored TV documentation, not quite real time, but hours later, of American casualties, of some of the carnage of war, etc. And so you spook the populace, and they want to watch Ed Sullivan, but they're seeing dead troops, American boys who look like their kids. It messes with the populace. Meanwhile, you had a bunch of ne'er-do-well loser boomers who were met at their dads, even their dads were stormed. Stormed the beaches of Normandy. And a really vain culture in boomers who decided to have a huge global party in Paris and in San Francisco, etc., and to demand the end of the war. And it was total tumult. And I think that you had the greatest generation just didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want their kids to have to deal with blood on beaches, etc. And so they let their kids be idiots. And you've got a Congress that controls the purse strings, and when public sentiment for the war goes away, then you have to half-ass it, unfortunately, and it's terrible. And you're right, but you can't just do it somewhat, and that's why. I mean,
and it's interesting because I mean, one of the things I'm most interested in terms of like war, and I know like it's a big cliche that all men are into World War II documentaries, but like I'm sort of fascinated by World War I.
Sure.
To be honest, I really want to watch the All Quiet on the Western Front, the new one that's out.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh.
Yeah, people have been saying a lot of good things about it because it's I'm really intrigued by this sort of like, you mentioned in Vietnam, like people being shocked by these images of war. And like, World War I was called the Great War and the war to end all wars because it was so horrific and the things people saw and experienced were so bad that people thought like, no one will ever do this again. Obviously, we got rid of those names when World War II rolled around. But
right, but that's true. But World War I also just never quite ended.
Right. I mean, it was in the way we left World War I led to World War II.
Right, and that's also due to sensitivities, for us at home. I think it was who's the bad guy? Wilson is the one who brought us into that war, right? Who ran on never going to war. And then, it necessitates going to war. And in World War II, FDR saw that and said, we're not doing this. We're not doing this again.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember we watched a document. It might have been one of those PBS Ken Burns things, too. But, Morgan says, 1, 2, 3, what are we fighting for? I do know that song.
Right. Country Joe and the Fish, I think.
Yeah, be the first one on your block to have your boy sent home in a box. It's interesting because, like, we think of Vietnam as being this, like, shock to the system because all these American kids were dying and getting but, like, and World War I didn't necessarily impact America in the same way that it did, like, England and Germany and France.
Of course.
But it's sort of like one of these weird, like, the more things change, the more they stay the same things, like, it always seems to be this thing where it's this like uniquely bad, horrific experience that people are like, well, we'll never do that again. And then we do. Like, I don't know why.
Well, I mean, but yeah, of course we do. But getting back to Afghanistan. So yeah, I do think that unfortunately public sentiment has a lot to do with it. Obviously, going into Afghanistan, with the exception of Michael Moore, was kind of automatic. And this is what, when I was fighting on Twitter about this last night. After the Twin Towers and after the Pentagon and the other flight that went into the
field in Pennsylvania.
Yes. Somebody's ass had to be kicked. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that.
I did develop an appreciation for the Toby Keith song, too.
Sure, but we needed to go and raise hell and blow a lot of crap up. Now, if we blow a lot of crap up and we only get a bunch of goats, whatever, that's fine. American firepower needed to be advertised, and I understand that.
But did we have to go build a bunch of roads in Afghanistan for no friggin' reason?
Well, I mean, there was nothing. But obviously, that's where you're right. The nation building came in. That maybe we could do something to keep out the Taliban because you didn't want the Taliban to be.
We could have just destroyed them. And this is where it gets back to half-assing it, right? Like, there shouldn't have been a Taliban to take back over Afghanistan. That's what I don't understand.
Well,
just like
sure.
turn the desert to glass. Like, I don't get it.
Well, but
right?
wait a second. So the Taliban had been there for years.
But they were all like hiding out in mountains and stuff, weren't they?
Many of them. I mean, some of them were right in Kabul. I mean, some of them were right in the middle of everything. They owned the country. They ran the country at that point. The Al Qaeda hid in the mountains.
But they didn't, last year when Joe Biden pulled out.
Right. Well, a lot of them are hanging out in Pakistan too. But at the end of the day, like my feeling was then, and then I thought I was being rash, and now I'm back to it. We should have just nuked Tora Bora, or nuked somewhere where we thought Bin Laden was. And I don't care.
But that's what I mean. Like, you can't half-ass. You either have to get rid of the Taliban or everything, or the 20 years of not getting rid of the Taliban is going to come back to bite you. You can spend billions and billions of dollars to hang around not getting rid of the Taliban, and then, like, you leave, and then the Taliban comes back. Like, what the heck was the point of that?
Well, the Taliban can hide out in Pakistan. We can't eradicate all of them. And, I mean, we did a pretty good job of lighting those dudes up. It was some... There was
I don't know. Where are the Nazis now?
Well, the Nazis are.
I mean, there's a few guys in their mom's basements around the world. Like,
there's no enfranchised Nazis.
But where's the Nazis
now? You want to know where the Nazis are? They're in Brazil. I would ask Tom Brady's ex-wife maybe if she knows anything.
But you get my point, right? You get my point, right? Like, we didn't have that. Where is the Japanese Imperial Army?
Well, the emperor called it into it. Said this is over. This is finito because
we dropped nukes on them.
Yes,
and we didn't even have to drop nukes on Germany. We firebombed Dresden and we called it a day. Like, but you get what my point is,
we didn't
right?
Call it a day after Dresden. But hold on.
No, I'm not saying that. But you get what I mean,
Germany
right?
Didn't surrender after Dresden.
No, but you see what I'm saying. We didn't.
No, I see that you're saying a bunch of wrong things.
You know what I mean?
Well, sure.
I mean, we didn't pull punches with Germany and Nazis and Japanese armies and stuff. Like, we didn't do that.
Well, that's fine, Alice, but nobody would accept Dresden now. Nobody would accept civilian targeting in firestorms that are burning alive women and children now. People can't accept it. So, and that brings us to Iraq, because in Afghanistan it was a tough one, and you try to set up a puppet government, and it's corrupt and yada yada yada, etc. So, but I think in Afghanistan you had to, after 9/11, you had to go get American military assets over there and start kicking asses immediately. Now, in Iraq, I was for the invasion of Iraq. I did not think it was a necessary emergency that we needed to be in there, but my feeling was, while we're in the neighborhood, let's get this guy. Saddam had it coming. He was a punk. I look back and I say, yes, I bought into all this stuff. Like, I personally hated Qusay and Qusay or whatever.
Oh, the yellow cake. You thought it was there.
Well, no, I don't even know about that. I didn't think we ever needed to find weapons of mass destruction. I didn't think we needed to. I was hoping we would. I didn't think we needed to. There was plenty of reasons after the original Iraq war that we had the right to go in there. This guy might be a gangster. He might have weapons of mass destruction. He used chemical weapons on the Kurds. He's not afraid to. He was a barbarian, this and that.
And generally, we think he sucks overall.
Generally, we think he sucks. The last one, remember, if you were alive in 1991, the last war in Iraq took 11 minutes before Saddam said, finished, and they were driven out of whatever. And we bombed the crap out of some Iraqis there, too. But this time, it was a show of force. If you're the strongest military in the world, you needed to let it know, and I consider it kind of like the Lincoln assassination, that not only do the attackers get killed, but their affiliates get killed.
Anybody adjacent.
Don't
be adjacent to people like that.
With the Clint Eastwood walking into the bar at the end of The Unforgiven, you know, the first guy, the bartender, pulled up the shotgun and tried to kill Clinton, shot him dead. Like, the second guy, Clinton just shot him. He might have, maybe not, but he is a killer, and that's what Saddam was to me. That it was, okay, let's do it. It's a country that was a civilized country, and still is, in many ways, and like you said, it had infrastructure and this and that. Of course, the problem was...
The oldest history on Earth.
Well, and I think and also, I thought, like, we get in there, get it done quickly, greeted as liberators, they'll all think we're great, and we're going to give them Nikes and flat screens and everything else, and we'll placate them. And, of course, we had crappy intel, And the young men in Iraq, many of them said, we're being invaded by these a-holes, and we didn't do anything to deserve that. They've been shock and awing us, which I thought at the time was awesome. Now I realize that there are people at the other end of the shock and awe. Now, but that said, at the same time, like we have 60, 70,000. I don't know how many is it American dead in Iraq. Is it 20,000?
No, less than that.
No, it's not 70,000.
I think
It'd be more
it's
in
under
Vietnam.
10, but let
okay,
me see.
But
Americans dead?
But casualties, because there's a lot of casualties because we've got superior armor these days, etc. So people are injured or killed. So
4,000 deaths in Iraq.
That's it?
Deaths.
Wow.
I don't know about casualties.
So here's my feeling.
Americans, yeah. I mean, obviously more than that of
my
Iraqis.
feeling is this, is that in Iraq, like we could have won this your way, the way you wanted to. I mean, instead of going house to house in Fallujah, we could just back off and blow it up. But the idea was, and this cost American limbs and lives, the idea was not to destroy the entire country to save it. The idea was to try to save it using, surgical, initiatives by Marines and Army on the ground and the Air Force and the Navy, whatever it took. The idea was not to destroy it because we didn't want those scenes of everybody dead there. Now, but so we, by design, had to kind of half-ass it. We had to do the fullest-ass version of half-assing it, which is, I think, what we did. And I think the intent was great. I thought to go in there is great. Get to Baghdad quickly. That's great. Shock and awe down there. Find the old man. Whack him out. All that stuff didn't pan out. They said we weren't greeted as liberators from many people in Iraq, and we had a strong insurgency because we let the army go. You can all go, and they said, okay, we're going to go and kill you with civilian clothes, and so there was a lot that just wasn't executed. The supply line to Baghdad wasn't executed correctly. Like none of the stuff was executed. The design and the plan. So I'm for. If it's the day before the Iraq War again, I'm for it again. I'm just not for it the way it was executed. But I thought it was a valid
but it's
enough
all
thing.
in the way that you do it, right? And it's the same
but
with
how
the
do you
pulling out from Afghanistan that Biden did. It's like the how is everything, right? Like you can be for pulling out, but not like that,
Right. But so like when people say like it was a waste of a war, it's the military-industrial complex, and
Halliburton.
If you're saying military-industrial complex, in every war, a lot of people are going to make a lot of money, and it's just how.
And a lot of people are going to die, and it's going to be extremely ugly and terrible and awful, and it was like that.
Well, right.
I mean, like honestly, this is going to sound like lame of me, but like going back to the Iliad, which is like. That's an account of war also. That's also about the futility and death and destruction of war and like the pointlessness of it, also the awesomeness of it, but like just sort of the pointless destruction of human life. And like it goes back it goes back a long time. People have been killing each other a long time in as big ways as they can come up with, and people have been writing about it and thinking about it a lot, not just in Iraq, not just in Vietnam, not just in World War I, but like going back thousands and thousands of years. Like this has been a topic of discussion because people do this stuff, and it's always the same story.
How do you mean always the same story?
I mean, it's always the same wanton destruction of human life,
right,
and pointlessness, and
yes.
and second guessing, and after effects, and people talking about why were we even doing this in the first place, and what are we doing here, and why, and fighting about it, and
right,
all of it. It's nothing is new about any of that.
I think that's a great point, and I think that part of the problem is that now these days we get neat briefings with PowerPoint presentations. And, these assets here will move here. This assets will move here. We're doing this, neutralizing this, working this, and there's so many PR campaigns, et cetera. And it's like, wow, what a nice clinical war we're fighting here. What a nice way to do this. But in truth, once it starts, it's a total cluster F. Yeah. It's a total mess. It's a total event where bad things happen. There's friendly fire. There's you hit civilians. It's a mess. It is a mess, which is why war is not a good thing. I think we tricked ourselves into thinking that the war in 91 took 11 minutes, was so clear. We'll just do that again. And
I mean, and even like talk about World War II, which is like the classic example of the just war, right? Like that's the war that's used as the example of the United States should have gotten in and they did get in. And like that's the textbook one. Like we should have been in World War II and we did get into World War II. Like nobody seriously argues today that the United States should not have gotten into World War II.
Right. Nobody argues. I mean, now I think the argument is probably that we
They argue about the nuclear bombs in Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Well, sure, but now I think about the argument is that we should have gotten in earlier.
Right, because Nazis are bad, right?
Well, so Nazis are bad, but also the Russians had them on one front. You know, we could have opened up the Eastern Front, you know, but we didn't. Mm-hmm. We waited until...
but at the time... Okay, go ahead.
We waited until, you know, enough Russians made for enough cannon fodder that the Nazis were degraded.
Right.
Which is also what happens in war.
Well, yeah. I mean, in the Russians especially, I think it's something like, I've read estimates that I think like 60 million people died in World War II and like 20 million of them were Russians or something. I forget the exact numbers that I read, but it was like a lot. And the Russian army had like one gun for every 3 soldiers. It was like not, like talk about cannon fodder. It was really like, pile up the bodies of the dead to hide and shoot from behind.
Yeah, oh my God!
With the Russians, they were not afraid to do that.
Well, and also eat each other. You know, they were absolutely, and they should have, because
the Russians are a dark people.
Well, but also, I mean, they had some Germans too, to be honest. But no, I mean, the siege of Leningrad. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No food, no water, starvation, pounded with artillery relentlessly. It's like, just FYI, Nazi hierarchy, if these guys ever get into Berlin, there's going to be a problemo. So you know. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting because World War II is used as this example of the war that the United States should have gotten into, that this was like the good war, the one that made sense that we should have done.
By the way, Dave, on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Gold effing medal. Gold medal. Now, Alice, I want you to read what Dave wrote.
I see it.
Okay. Now, read it out loud, please.
Okay. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Alice, I will, you know what? I will make love to you.
Okay.
If you can tell me what that's from. This would make you the ultimate wife.
I don't know.
Are you familiar with Samuel Kinison?
No.
Sam Kinison? Okay. Rodney Dangerfield? No. None of those.
No.
God. Those 8 Tylenol worked, man, at this point. That is absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful.
Okay.
You're not familiar?
Nope.
Well, you know what you'll be doing today after the podcast?
Okay. What will I be doing?
You'll be watching a movie called Back to School.
I saw that.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you remember somebody yelling because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow those commie bastards out? No?
I don't remember that, no.
No, it wasn't a pivotal scene in the movie. It wasn't memorable. What did you notice from this? This is interesting to me. What did you notice
I don't really remember that much of it, to be honest. Did it make a big impression on me?
Couch pattern is really interesting in this scene. Oh.
I didn't know.
Wow. Forget it. Is there another wife available, by the way, who I can talk to stuff about, who was there for some stuff?
Okay.
My goodness. Okay. Did we just... Alice, I'm going to play the scene. You better imprint this into your GD head. I don't ask much from you as a
You don't.
spouse. Hold on. Phil. I remember also in school that first month or so, we just keep talking. We experienced 9/11 in a way I don't think people at Ground Zero could have.
I thought we were going to talk about climate change and polar bears.
Is he right? Thank you for helping, Mr. Helper. Okay, Alice.
Maybe I didn't really like the movie. I don't know. I don't remember.
You liked the movie.
I don't remember it. I know that I watched it, but I don't really remember.
You liked the movie.
Morgan says that's what you get for marrying somebody 35 years younger than you.
I guess so, Morgan. I guess so. The suppleness and the fact that she's not complaining about hot flashes is not worth this, though. I can tell you, not worth it.
Well, we dive right in by interpreting one of the easiest events in the last 20 years of American history. Now, can someone tell me why in 1975 we pulled our troops out of Vietnam?
The failure of Vietnamization to win popular support caused an ongoing erosion of confidence in the various American but illegal Saigon regimes.
Now, he's a vet, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Is she right? Because I know that's the popular version of what went on there. I know a lot of people like to believe that. I wish I could, but I was there. I wasn't here in a classroom, hoping I was right, thinking about it. I was up to my knees in rice paddies with guns, and then we're going up against Charlie, slugging it out with him, while pussies like you were back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle albums. Oh!
Sorry.
Hey, Professor.
Do you not think this is funny yet?
It's funny. It's great.
Wow.
Take it easy, will you? I mean, these kids, they were in grade school at the time. And me, I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover.
So this is the teacher is played by Sam Kinison, a popular comedian from the 80s.
Okay.
The student is played by Rodney Dangerfield.
I've heard of him, yes.
Okay. This what's happening
Some
now.
of your friends say, hey, take it easy.
Yeah. This is now what's happening is called humor.
Okay.
American humans
I'll take notes.
used to like and appreciate this.
I'm sorry.
It's a series of ironies and sarcastic, colorful remarks.
Oh. Well, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper. But since you want to help, maybe you can help me, okay? You remember that thing we had about 30 years ago called that Korean conflict? Yeah, where we failed to achieve victory. How come we didn't cross the 38th parallel and push those rice eaters back to the Great Wall of China and take the brick and nuke them back into the fucking Stone Age River? How come? Tell me why! Say it! Say it!
All right, I'll say it. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. I'm gonna be watching you.
A good teacher. He really seems to care. About what, I have no idea.
That was in the trailer, I remember at the time. All right, so Al, you have...
And you like to say to me, call me sometime when you have no class.
Yes, that's right. That's from that.
I know.
That's from that, absolutely. Call me sometime when you have no class. I used to say that back when you had class, when you were a scandalous college student. All right, so this is the most unplanned show ever.
Okay. Are we going to talk any climate change? Because
No, we'll do it tomorrow.
We have to talk about Paul.
We got to get out. We have to, Alice, we have to visit our kids.
I mean, you know.
Here's one right here.
Hi. How are you?
Whoa, taking a digger. Here we go. That's how we know it's time to end the show.
Do we have any Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline chat messages?
All right, you ready? Homie?
Because the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline is brought to us by Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce, which is a hot sauce that is available. It is seasoned with sea salt for reduced sodium, has no preservatives, and is available at Market Basket, Big Y, and other various supermarkets. And they donate 5% of all their proceeds to the Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Big fans of Burn Barrel Podcast. We're big fans of them, and go by that. But we're going to play the...
Nicely done, Alice. Your cute girl shirt today, your innocent girl shirt, it's really made a difference in this show.
How so?
Maybe the whole thing always was to just cover you up rather than dangle you out there.
Maybe.
Okay. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, by the way, there's a message. One of the first messages regarding Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. Do you see it?
No.
Okay. Do you see it when you look at it?
Oh, in the chat here?
Yes.
Yes. John in Wakefield reports that there was none at the Stoneham Stop and Shop, and he will try Market Basket. That one?
Okay. Can you tie that in to the read? No? Okay, that's fine. You are Replica Shadow.
I'm not able to integrate new information into my algorithm.
Jesus. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right, I have to address some things.
All right.
Firstly, I don't sit in my room and watch bad movies all the time. It's just when I got free time.
Justin, don't watch those movies. For God's sakes, don't watch like the Towering Inferno. Don't do it. You're too young for that.
It's not a nursing home. And when it comes to the ladies, I don't.
I actually just like when I was with the little son a couple years ago, they gave me a long visit to a really great nursing home. It was like all sorts of like activities and things outside, and then they took me into like the nursing home part of it, and it was everybody, 63 people, many mouths agape, just watching MASH, and I thought, there we go. I need to end this day.
I don't like to kiss and tell, but I'm busy as a bee. I'm pitter patter, get at her. But when it comes to nursing homes,
I don't know what that means.
Did something sexual just happen?
He likes the ladies he's telling us.
It's the undeniable truth that we don't want to talk about. They're going at it in the nursing rooms, just big, wrinkly liver spot orgies going on.
Jesus.
Alrighty.
Come on. Oh, my goodness. How's your phone?
It's good.
Anything going on?
It was just buzzing, so I was checking to make sure, but I don't even know what was making the noise because I'm old now and I don't understand my own phone. It just makes noises without me. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Every time Tom mentions how handsome and thin he used to be, he's actually dead naming the old DS. So I think this needs to stop. Enough with the microaggression, bro.
There is a point to that. It's really a cry for help. And actually, you know what? I sent you another cry for help just yesterday, and you didn't respond.
What, cry
but it's
for
so
help?
pathetic. But you didn't effing get back to me. I sent you this thing regarding what Tim was saying.
Mm-hmm.
This is so bitch of me.
Okay.
By the way, yesterday. You should have called me out on this.
Okay.
Okay. This is my bitchiest moment. Sally should have been how to find what time this is sent at. 8:24 p.m. yesterday, I say, I'm watching the video of us that you put up. Because sometimes we'll watch
like
the
show.
On the big screen.
Yeah. Okay.
This time I'm watching specifically to see how fat I look. So I fire off a text to Alice while she's uploading other stuff to whatever and say, I look very fat in the video. Definitely gained a lot of weight. Which was your cue to say what?
No, honey, you're so skinny. You look so fantastic.
Nope. Didn't happen. Nothing. So did I find it?
I just ignored it.
Did I find a family-sized Doritos pack and eat the pain away? Yes, I did. Jesus, Alice. If I'm going to be a bitch, at least validate me so I can move on.
Sorry.
God, I look too fat in this. God, what a bitch. Ugh.
I don't always know how to respond to normal social cues.
You don't say, huh?
Hey, Tom and Alice, I appreciate the play out of the show
Yes.
with the Modest Mouse song.
Yep.
I really appreciate that.
Hey, anytime.
Thanks.
What a nice guy. You see? Justin would tell me that I've lost weight. He'd
I
get
know
right
he
back
would.
to me.
I know.
What about all the things on Ehrlich I want to talk about and the climate? We prepared for that. I realize that, Alice. Then you talked about suicide.
You
and
asked
then
me.
decided that, you know what? Maybe that's really compelling.
You
God.
asked the question.
Alice,
I'm sorry.
this is not a CIA black site where you're being waterboarded by an intermediary country. But can you, by the way, like, just in case, if anybody asks about how well I am endowed or what I look like shirtless or the most vile thing you've seen about me eating wise or whatever.
Amazing, and you're really sexy.
Can you not tell them? Well, they asked. Doesn't matter that they asked. The idea is that when somebody asks something, it's time to do damage control. Put a shine on it. My God. I'm glad I asked just that question simply about suicide. I'm glad I didn't ask anything. What was your junior prom like? I was naked at 8:15. I was in the...
Not true.
I don't know. I'm not going to ask Alice. Well, I'm not going to ask on this podcast.
Hey, Alice. Don't know how long you've been watching the Twilight Zone marathon.
Love the Twilight Zone marathon.
I look forward to it every year.
My favorite
When
thing.
you mentioned it yesterday, I just had to call. Even though I've watched it many years, this year I've seen quite a few that are new to me.
They showed more episodes this year than usual. They did. Normally they show like 70, 80 episodes. This year was like over 100. I did not watch them all, but I tried to hit,
You watched them this year?
I tried to hit my favorites. They run them for a few days. I threw one on like the other night when I was downstairs.
They're new to me. Wondered what your favorite episodes are, and if you've seen the new Twilight Zone. Never knew it existed until yesterday, and I was not very impressed.
Yeah, I read that they played some of them this year. I'm not a new Twilight Zone person. I did not watch any. I don't know about them. Favorite episodes. So
Hold on one second, Alice. Hold on before you get to your favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone. I
have favorite Twilight Zone episodes.
I don't doubt you do. But I just need one moment before you get to that, Alice. Okay. Do you mind? Hold on. Holy God. I can't imagine. Is there 8 Tylenol anywhere in this house? I can't imagine the worst thing in the world. Having Alice Shattuck talk about her favorite Twilight Zone episodes, because she has a bleep load to say. God, so much monkeypox and disease, and I can't get anything that really takes. Sorry, you right there? Go ahead. No, talk about the freaking William Shatner, and there's a creature on the wing you see. And
I do like the William Shatner one.
Don Rickles is in the bar.
That's like peak good-looking William Shatner. Okay, we talked about this yesterday with the kids.
By the way, Julie and Phil sent us a nice Christmas card. We appreciate that.
They did. Alice, that was really sweet.
Go ahead.
I love Julie and Phil, and they're very nice. And my favorite Twilight Zone episode, so I like that one. The thing on the wing, I'm really bad with the names of them, so like forgive me. I love the one, and this one like haunts me, where there's the 3 guys who go in the rocket ship, and like then like one at a time they start to like disappear from everybody else's memory, but the last guy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Don't even look at me while talking about this. Do I know what you're talking about? Yeah, no. Are you talking about you're an effing geek? Is that what you're talking about?
I love that one.
Oh my
That's
God.
Like one of my favorite episodes.
Imagine you not be popular in high school. I'm in a math club. I'm very pro-war in George W. Bush, and I watched the Twilight Zone marathon. Keep going, Alice.
Why are you like this?
Keep on going.
I like the one where they're in the plane that goes back in time accidentally.
Don't talk to... You're talking to Julie, not me.
I know. I'm talking to Julie.
I'm horrified. Julie is interested.
And I like... let's see. What else are my favorite?
How about the one where Sherman dies? The Indian attack one.
Oh,
not
yeah.
Sherman.
Where they like realize they're at the... I know what you mean.
Is it the OK Corral? It's not the OK
No, but it's one that's
Little
considered not. Yeah, Little Big. It's not considered PC now. That's considered like a massacre now. So that one's like not okay now, I think. I also like the one where the guy, it's the apocalypse and he has time to read, but he breaks his glasses.
You're a sick bastard, Alice. You really are. The Twilight Zone, if you watch this.
The one where it's like to serve
Why do you like that?
To serve mankind and the aliens, like they think they're going to do something awesome, but they're eating them. Yeah, that one's really good.
And the one with
too.
the mask on the face?
That one's okay. I'm not.
Alice, all these are like awful. These are all.
Eye of the Beholder, where it's like they're all ugly and they're doing the surgery on normal people to try and make them like look ugly like them, and they hide it the whole episode. Brilliant suspense.
Was Twilight Zone the trauma? that you were talking about earlier? Because it sounds psychologically absolutely jolting. All of these things are awful. I like the one where you watch somebody suffocate for 45 minutes.
No. Love the Twilight Zone. Yeah,
Awful.
but that one with
Julie, I'm
William
sorry
Shatner.
about
Shatner really, like, Shatner only, he had a very limited window of being really good looking, including the original series of Star Trek and that Twilight Zone episode. But then by the time you get to the Star Trek movies, so you're out of that already. The one where Satan's captured in a monastery, says Trish. Yes, that one's
You're
good
all
too.
sick.
Kick the Can, says Dave. That one's also good.
1570 Project. When's the next one coming online? That is
I actually
awful.
have one recorded I need to put out.
You recorded one and it's not out.
People have messaged me about how great it is, by the way, the 1570 Project. So I'm just
Oh,
saying.
good. You know you can...
Like, kind of...
You can distribute them for mass appeal if you want to.
I will. Thank you.
What are you? I don't really know.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you want to join the live streams or if you want extra content each week, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/burnbarrel. You can also find the show for free at burnbarrelpodcast.com. That's where you can find links to all the different places to listen, wherever you like to listen to podcasts, Apple or Google or whatever, Spotify. You can watch on YouTube. You can watch on Rumble. If we get kicked off YouTube.
Is it possible you're having a nervous breakdown?
How so?
I don't know. The only thing, you're in a Catholic girl virgin sweater.
It's just a
and
sweater.
I believe, are you on mushrooms?
No. But yeah, love you guys. See you tomorrow.